Good evening, Kairos community. It is Dr. K, Managing School Director, and we are in store for a special Parent Academy. Today is Tuesday, March 7th, and with me, I have the fantastic Julie P., who is working with us about great places to work. But in addition to Julie, we have our phenomenal CEO, Dr. Khalil Graham, and our fantastic principals, Neelish Patel and Tambra Pendleton. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Julie, so that we can kick this off with our great places to work.
Thanks, Dr. K. I am going to just frame how we're going to spend our time. We're going to start by sharing with you all an introduction so that you get a high-level overview of what Great Place to Work is and how Kairos uses Great Place to Work with staff. We're also going to hear from your school leaders and school principals around how they're using this data at school and it's driving school culture. And then Dr. Graham will share more about retention and staff and hiring policies and all things at the network level. So wanted to start by sharing with you more about what is Great Place to Work. So the Great Place to Work survey is a data-backed survey that is used by the best employers and an opportunity to retain top performers. It's often given, it has metrics and measures. Some characteristics that are being measured are around communication. How do employees feel about recognition? What does flexible work environment look like? There's opportunities to learn about staff perceptions related to support and teamwork, how staff members with one another share the wealth and communicate. And ultimately, there's also metrics around manager effectiveness and respect. I also want to share that in addition to this was administered to your teachers and staff members in November. So it gave the opportunity to hear from all stakeholders about areas of strength and also areas of opportunity. And then we engaged in action planning and with principals and their leadership teams in December. And action planning is a critical lever in increasing staff engagement. It allowed school leaders to zero in on the things that they are already doing well and figure out how are they going to translate and replicate those actions in other areas to kind of pull and draw in on strengths. And it also allowed school leaders to go ahead and narrow the focus of things that weren't going so well and figure out how they were going to change those practices, those policies, potentially those structures to increase engagement. The survey provided your school leaders and staff leadership teams with some invaluable data regarding how staff felt about both their individual managers and sub-teams and the organization as a whole. So their job as a team leader and manager of people was to look at the team data with a critical eye. Then they identified areas of focus. And then they mapped out a plan that they and their team were going to engage in that allowed them to kind of measure progress. Ultimately, it was creating a path for which they can be accountable. The last piece that I want to name is that the action planning, the direction that they're moving forward is aiding as a resource that's going to help them move in terms of the process. We will continue to meet with school principals and potentially their leadership teams, depending on their preference, and create a space where there's an opportunity to problem solve with me with a regular cadence that supports the opportunity to step back from data, look at the actions they're taking, map it to the vision for what they're trying to achieve, and look at the strategic plan and move forward in terms of next steps to continually build on areas of strength and strengthen areas of improvement. I'm going to pause there and turn it over to you, Dr. K, so we can hear from school leaders.
All right, thank you so much, Julie. I know the school leaders are working really hard and they have planned some wonderful things in response to the data. I know that Dr. Graham has prepared a few questions that he wants to ask the principals. So I'm going to open the conversation up to find out more about the principal's plans and the questions that Dr. Graham has prepared.
Yes, thank you so much for allowing me to join and just present some questions. And the way I want to do this is I will present a question and then either principal can answer first and then the other one can piggyback off of that. And so we can hear from both principals for each question. So the first question that I have is grounded in what was the piece of data that you found most actionable from our Great Place to Work survey that you heard from your team? So the most actionable piece of data you heard and kind of what you've been doing with that since. Neelish, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So like there's what was really great first is like taking this holistic data set and being able to sit down really with Julie and with you, Dr. Graham, about and breaking it down into like what does it actually say? What is it actually telling us? The most actionable piece of data that we got out of it was some of the staff not having a clear understanding of the different roles and responsibilities, right? So there wasn't a clear vision for that. And it was a simple fix because all we had to do was put it in a specific chart and being able to then share that information with the whole staff as a large group. Hey, here's what the buckets that Neelish as the principal is responsible for. Here are the buckets that the operations team is responsible for. Here are the buckets that Bristol, the culture team, is responsible for, or that Tyler may be responsible for. So really diving into that deeply was able to provide a better understanding of who to go to for what.
Awesome. Timber, is there anything you'd like to piggyback on with that?
Definitely just making sure that that transparency was allowed to the staff so that they can know where we are going and have a clear vision to drive towards our purpose.
Awesome. My second question is grounded in creating a joy factor for your staff to really be excited to come to work. Is there anything unique that you've done since receiving this data to create a joy factor for your teams? And so love if Tambra, you could take the lead with this question and just talk about maybe one thing that you guys have done since then to create joy factor with the staff.
Yes, definitely. Something is staff recognition, right? Be able to recognize the people that are in place doing the hard work day to day. And so we've implemented a Big Kraken Award. And so with that Big Kraken Award, it is given to, or it is earned by the staff member who shows and executes our values. And so they're highlighted alongside with a student so that they are recognized to say, hey, our values are aligned. It pours over into the students and we see you here. We know that you are here and we see you. So that's brought great joy to our staff.
Neelish, what about you? What's something you want to highlight?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tamara hit the nail on the head, right? Like people, it's like seen, heard, and valued, right? This is a really important piece for staff members. So really similar to what Principal Pendleton was saying, we actually implemented an award system as well based off of our core values. So love, excellence, agency, and diversity. Based off of each one of those core values, every cycle a staff member can win an award. When they've demonstrated this core value really through and through, along with the award, not only comes recognition, but like a small, just like a token of our appreciation to make sure that we want to know that, yes, you're valued, and here's just a small piece of that value. The other part of that is giving staff the opportunity to break bread together and have lunch and build community has been really important. So whenever staff has a really excellent piece of data that we can all really celebrate together. So for example, the most recent one was we had 100% satisfaction on the parent positive data. We all ate lunch together. And with that lunch, we were able to talk a little bit more. How do we get this data? How do we can bring it forward as a team? And it just shows everyone that we appreciate them with some free food.
So, you know, anything, I love a good meal, so I appreciate that. The last question I have for both of you is grounded in something that a lot of parents have brought to my attention, and is really something nationwide that everybody's looking at, which is teacher retention. And so if you could talk about either a strategy or something that you and the team are unpacking with Julie around trying to ensure that we can keep as many of our great teachers as possible to continue to work with our kids.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Oh, sorry, you go for it, Ms.
Go
Pendleton.
ahead, English. Go ahead.
Sure. All right. I think you're totally right. It's a problem that schools are facing across the country, both with the rise in remote work and then just like it's a tough job teaching, right? And it goes back to this recognition that yes, what you're doing is so important. So it's really important that we see our staffs as people, encourage them to take their mental health very seriously, encourage them to take the time off if they need to take that time, allow them to be people first. And then the other side of that is also we want to make sure our staff aren't doing busy work, right? So let's figure out where we can empower our staff as much as possible to do what they're hired to do, which is teach our kids and be great for our kids day in and day out. And then all of the other busy work things that are some other places might have for them, we want to take off of their plate and we'll take on ourselves as an admin team.
Definitely 100% agree with you, Neelish. On top of that, just making sure that our teachers are learning. We work in education and our minds are growing each day. Things are changing. So it's very intentional for us to implement strategies and tools that they can use inside of the classrooms, that they can be coached on, and they have that direct connection with their instructional director and principals that are in the building. So ensuring that they are growing and developing through the process just as well as kids.
Thank you for sharing those really, really powerful strategies there. I appreciate you both sharing your thoughts in terms of what you feel can be really helpful for creating even stronger school communities with your teams. And I'm thankful for your leadership with those groups and with the leaders you serve. I'll take this portion to just give a couple of quick updates to our families and to our key stakeholders around some things that we have really prioritized in regard to making this a great place to work and a great place for people to stay and learn. In terms of our teachers, we have really looked at not only compensation, but also how do we reward our teachers for doing great work. And we are rolling out for the 23-24 school year a comprehensive overhaul of our salary structure and scale for our teachers. For our teachers, the highlight is that many of our teachers who are certified and starting in their first year would earn $50,000, which is a almost $9,000 increase from what they would have earned this past year. So you could see across the board, we've adjusted our salary schedule to keep our teachers amongst the highest compensated in the city of St. Louis. And we offer incentive opportunities, whether it's through achievement with our students or through living the culture and the values that we present here at Kairos, that will allow for those staff members to earn additional recognitions up in including stipends that would exceed $5,000. So we're excited about offering our teachers additional rewards and recognition for the work they do. We've also made similar adjustments for our school-based leaders to ensure that our school-based leaders are compensated for the work and the things that they do to bring the education and learning to life for our kids. We also are investing in opportunities for our leadership team to learn about the craft of leadership to support our teachers and our staff on site. And part of that is investing in their expertise and their knowledge base. So we have put together a budget in the six-figure amount for professional development for our school leaders so that they can learn best practices across the country that will bring stronger experiences to the teachers that are working in our campuses. So that's a partnership that will go through a plethora of partners, Relay Grad School of Education. We'll be bringing in continued external experts that understand not only our academic model, but best leadership practices. So we're really excited about those things. And we have adjusted our organizational chart to prioritize teaching and learning support across the board. So you will see in the coming weeks when positions are announced that we have put an increased focus on positions that will support kids learning in the classroom around a multitude of learning styles and abilities. So when we see those positions arise, know that we wanted to focus our resources and our energy around ensuring that kids have the strongest opportunity to learn, by us creating those equal opportunities for our teachers to learn and our leaders to learn and grow as well. So you should look at our website and our family newsletters. You will see lots of those updates coming, as well as in our social media. So if you're not following us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, please feel free to follow us on those platforms so that you can see all the exciting things. And if you know a person who would be a great asset to our community, please direct them to our talent page so that they can find out more about ways to reach out, or have them meet one of our wonderful school leaders that you have here with an email, and they can definitely connect them with the right people to learn about opportunities to serve our kids. With that, I appreciate you giving me the chance to make an update, and I'm going to pass it to you, Dr. K.
All right, thank you so much. It looks like we have a few next steps that may appear, Julie. Are there any next steps that are coming up?
We're just kind of voicing over that. We'll continue
Okay.
to work. Dr. Graham and his team will re-administer the survey in the spring, which will allow us to compare baselines to spring scores and give us continued data. And wanted to share those high-level next steps and updates with you in terms of how the work will continue to move forward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Julie. We appreciate you joining us for this Parent Academy. These are live, so you always have the option to join us, but we also record them because we appreciate that your schedules are busy. If you have any topics that you want us to bring to you, anything that can help you understand our community better and to close that gap, please let us know. But until next time, thank you for visiting us, and bye. Have a great evening.